Today I want to talk to you about owning your perception and why that is so important to do. I actually made this video last week, but I did not post it because I forgot to mention all the new members who are in my YouTube membership. So I'm going to redo this video and probably have different insights because I can't repeat anything. I have no idea what comes out of my mouth, and I'm just going to do the best that I can. So watch this video. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. Like I said, I have a monthly membership that is totally separate from YouTube. Some people are getting confused. But if you've joined my YouTube membership, you get a shout out in a video. If you join tier 2, by the way, this is new for me too, so I'm figuring it out. If you join tier 2, you get to join my private Facebook group. If you join 3, you get to join one of my live Q&As in my separate membership program. And 4, you get lessons from me in the community section. So I have some new members. I'm gonna try to do this all at once, so organic, that I need to shout out right now. So let me read those. I'm gonna leave you for a second while I look at these. Okay, so Taz is new. Awakening with Stacy, I believe I already mentioned you, but there you go again. Lynn Jones, Michelle Jordan, Kesha Young, or is it Keisha Young? I'm not sure, you can let me know and I'll mention you again. Amy Boucher, I think. Look at what I do, I butcher these names. Astronaut Kid, and Karen Smith. You guys are all brand new. Thank you so much for joining my community. There's your shout out, and we'll see what else you get as you go. So today, I wanted to redo this video on why owning your perception is super important. First of all, let me just shut off my notifications. Very organic over here. I want to say that, what does it mean for you? If you have any self-doubt in your life, it means you're having an issue owning your perception of reality. So often as children, and you know that I like to focus on highly sensitive people, because if you're a highly sensitive kid and you have, or you're a right brain kid, okay, and you have a different perception than most. I was this story. In fact, I had a 2-hour conversation with my mother last night, which I enjoy immensely these days. Maybe not as a teen, just kidding mom. But I really enjoy our conversations because we've reached this other level in our relationship, and what it looks like is just speaking truth and knowing that it's all loved and all accepted and unconditional. And that's something I did not know about as a child because I had such a different perception than the majority of people around me or in the world, in my opinion. So for me, the way I would perceive things was very different, especially emotionally, than those around me. And it made me question my perception. So one of the things I mean by this, I'll give you an example. I have this beautiful young client. Yes, there's still saint bites on my arm, by the way. I have to mention that because people who are new are like, is she okay? Does she have like some accident? No, it's called my puppy. So I'll say that a lot until they're gone. But anyway, I have this young client, and I see this in younger clients. I have clients from 17 to 72 right now. And I see this in the full scale of people who are trying to wake up from their conditioning and wake up from wounding and wake up from sort of the processing that we went through as kids, the what's the word I'm looking for? Hold on, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Programming. We're waking up from our programming because that's what it is in the subconscious mind, right? So this young client is waking up from his programming, and he's finding it a little bit difficult to go to the next level because his whole life, his perception was questioned, because it did not fit the majority, right? It was different. He thought outside the box. He's one of those be the change kids. And I love those kids because it reminds me of my journey that was really difficult, but ended up so far to be pretty magical. And so I'm helping him shift into owning his perception. And here's what it looks like. When we can't own our perception, it means that we see something a certain way, and then we question it all. And what that does is it makes us not trust ourselves. And then what it does is it makes us not trust others. And then what it does is it creates a whole cycle of attracting people that kind of gaslight us sometimes because we're just used to not owning our own reality. So this can look like, if a highly sensitive kid is having this issue, it's like, oh my gosh, this hurts so bad. Oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. And someone's saying, no, it doesn't. You know you're fine. And you're like, oh my God, am I fine? Is there something wrong with me that this hurts so bad? Questioning your reality. Not trusting yourself. Is what I'm feeling wrong? Is there something wrong with my feeling dimension? Right? When we're younger, we need mirroring, especially emotionally mirroring. We need people to say, oh, I know it does hurt, honey, but that's going to be okay, I'm sure. Even if it hurts you more than I think it should hurt you, I understand that that's how bad it hurts you. We need that validation. We need that emotional mirroring. If we don't have that, we question our perception of reality. We question our perception of ourselves. We question our perception of the world. And so the first thing I like to do with this is doing what I call perception checking. So, for instance, my young client who's like, Candace, I'm just trying to own my perception. How do I do that? I say, okay, well, what is it you do now? She says, well, I'll say that this is what I think, and someone will say you don't. And I say, oh my God, what's wrong with what I think? I said, there you go. You are questioning your perception just like others used to question yours or still do. We have to become our own bestie, right? So this is what I say. When you say, hey, I think this, and someone says, that's ridiculous, or whatever, say, I hear that you're saying it's ridiculous, but in my perception, this is what it feels like. And then the person can say, well, that perception's weird or wrong, or wow, I don't see it that way, or oh, cool, I could maybe see it that way. It doesn't matter, because when we own our perception, we don't need anyone else to validate it. We also don't need to defend it. What starts to happen also is when you start to own your perception, I'll give you an example. What's going to come up? Okay. If I said to my friend, you know what? That was so crazy. I was just out at dinner and that waiter was so rude. I'm guessing that he had a bad day, or maybe he just doesn't like me, whatever. If my friend were to say, he wasn't rude at all, are you crazy? Someone who has an issue owning their perception is going to say, why would I perceive it that way? What's wrong with me? Why am I seeing that wrong? Someone who owns their perception would say, well, I experienced him as being mean to me. What did you see? Don't need to defend it because I'm owning what I perceived. What did you see? Oh, you saw that maybe, oh, that's funny. I didn't see that. You have to be open. If you own your perception, you are able to be open. If you don't own your perception and you just delete it right away or abandon it right away, you're already owning someone else's as your own, and then your reality doesn't make sense. That's a big piece of this. We like to own, or we have to own, we need to own our perception so that our reality makes sense. I sent a newsletter out last week talking about this, and I had quite a few responses asking me, first of all, saying how they loved what it was saying, and please do a video on this, which I did. I just didn't let it go yet. So new video. The second thing is people said, oh my God, can you go deeper? So one of the things people wanted me to go deeper into was, if I don't own my perception, my reality won't make sense. This is what I mean. When I started perception checking myself all the time, it was actually quite a relief, because instead of needing to defend my reality, I was open to it being wrong. I was open to it just being different. I was open to it shifting and maybe aligning with someone else's or not, and then looking at why. And what I learned through myself is that everything that when I started owning it, well, in my experience, I had a hard time at this age in my childhood because this, and this happened. When you own that and you own and you say it out loud, this is part of the healing as well. Say it out loud. At 7 years old, I felt betrayed because blah, 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 blah. Now, what's so exciting about that is you're owning what you feel. Validation. You're owning what you feel, not as wrong or needing to be any different, just what you perceived it to be at the time. I did a video many, many years ago about abandonment, and I specifically stated, whether you were abandoned or not is not the issue. If you perceive that you were, you must validate that experience. And then you can go and look for the truth, right? If I had a betrayal wound at 7 years old, and this is how I experienced it, I need to own that. And then what happens when you own it is you get to go have clarity. So what I personally did is I went to my mother many years later, and I said, hey, I had this betrayal wound at 7, this is what I experienced. Instead of needing her to say, you're right, you did, I said, you know, I was 7. Can you help me maybe upgrade that or validate why that might have been true? She said, wow, that actually makes sense. But what we were perceiving things at, or what we did, was this. And it was so cool to say, my perception is mine and right for me. Yours is yours and right for you. And somehow we're going to come to a conclusion that might make more sense. And in that reality of owning my perception and saying, this is it, she was able to say, gosh, it makes a lot of sense that you would have thought that at 7. And I got to say, it really does make a lot of sense that I would have thought that at 7. It also makes a lot of sense that your reality is probably the accurate one. Given my adult view, I'm able to now upgrade that perception to see something higher. So when we can own our perception, we not only don't need it to be different, we don't need to defend it, we can be open to upgrading, but we also can make sense of our own experiences and our own reality starts to make sense. So when our own reality starts to make sense, guess what gets to happen, you guys? Our healing gets to set in. If it makes sense, and it won't make sense until you own your perception. If you own your perception, you can see how your inner child or younger self was perceiving things and how maybe now you can validate that perception and upgrade it to see, oh, healing of memories. I get to heal my 7-year-old self because, which I did, because I see that I wasn't actually being betrayed, but I was perceiving it that way. So no one is wrong. I was perceiving that. That's where the wounding came from. Makes sense now. But now I get to upgrade it and heal that, so that I don't have to keep seeing through a filter of betrayal and re-wounding myself. How we perceive that we were treated, we treat our own inner child. When we can shift our perception by owning it and upgrading it, we get to be the healer that we always needed. We get to reparent, we get to self-partner, and we get to integrate into the wholeness that we've always been. So I just wanted to share that message today. I also wanted to mention that it has been an entrepreneur's nightmare the last 2 weeks of trying to open enrollment for emotional rehab. It is open now, and so what I will be doing is using the first 2 weeks of October as the early enrollment discount. And don't worry, you're not missing anything. You're not going to be behind if you decide to join during October, because the first week or two is intro and just getting used to things. You can do it at your own pace as well, and you have it for the rest of your life. What I do encourage, if you're going to sign up soon, is that you make sure you get onto the private Facebook group to join our live calls every week, where you can ask me any question you want. So the link below for emotional rehab. Get on the wait list for shadow work. And if you don't see the wait list, just go to my email newsletter and I will be sending out information on that, hopefully launching next year. We will see, maybe sooner, see how lucky I get with the time that I have. Also check all the other links and share and subscribe if you haven't already. I adore you guys, and I will see you soon.